Okay, so we will start with, I'll try to show you some of the functionality. One of the very good functionality that one can use is R Markdown. So if you go to file, you click on the file, yeah, new, and then you will see R Markdown. Yeah. Now here, in the title, you can say some title. What is the right title? You can give, say, today is, you can give a date, class on 11th October or something like that. You can, yeah, visualization 11 October 21, right? So you will, yeah, you got a, I think your markdown file is opened. Yeah, you don't need to do that. Correct. So this untitled file that you have, that is being opened, you see the first in line 2, it's the title is being visual, that whatever title you have given, then author is the name of the uh, you know, holder, and then your name and date is today's date. It will automatically be taken. Now output is HTML underscore document. Okay. Now the advantage of this R Markdown is you can do the necessary analysis and the report. It can be built simultaneously. Okay, so what does it mean? What I mean by this? What I mean by this, typically what happens, typically you do your R, do your analysis in R script, you create the graphs, you create the tables, and then in a document file, some, you know, MS Word or something, you create the, the doc, you write down your all your reports, and then you plug in all those figures and, you know, tables and all the analysis, then you do. So these two processes are independent kind of thing, and it's like separate independent process. The problem is, suppose in the last moment some data is being changed, or you made some little change, that might result a complete change in your manual that you are preparing, right? The report that you are preparing. R Markdown solves that process, and it makes it a very seamless, uh, development of the report. What it does is basically, so suppose you can go to, so if you just, uh, okay, you have not done any project now. Okay, you say you can say if control is or command is, whatever is your, so, or you can, yeah, so that you can save the file. Yeah,
we have to save the file.
you can save the file in somewhere. You can, yeah. So you can name something. Correct. Okay, you have to probably 11 and maybe underscore 10 or something like that. Yeah. Now I think it will be fine. Yes.
Yes.
So it will create .rmd file. You see,
Yes.
class 1110.rmd file, right? Acha. Now what you do, you can see on the, can you see that neat thing on the top? There is a, yeah. Now you click on need to HTML. If you just do that, it will, it is compiling. So you wait there. Yeah, it's compiling. So you go to your desktop, see if it has created a HTML file or not. Check it out. Did it? Oh, Did it created a HTML
Yeah,
file?
yes, sir. It is open, but I can share only this screen. I have not used Zoom.
Ah,
If you can help me regarding
So,
that.
if you just unstop
Okay,
your
okay, okay.
screen sharing and share your desktop, then yeah. So this is the output, HTML output that is being created. Okay, this is a default kind of thing. And what we will do today, we will create. So this is the HTML output, right? Now, if you scroll down, so this was a sort of a default template that they
Default.
had, and I'll tell you, you can do a PDF output also. So if you close it, go to your thing, yeah. Now you
Need
go
to
to
PDF.
need, you can, yeah, you need to PDF, you can create a need to PDF. Similarly, you can do need to Word document.
Word.
So this is a very useful thing that you can use. Okay.
Sir, can't we use the R on Jupyter?
You can use Art Jupyter, that's fine. Because you are coming from a Python background. So that's why you are saying so. And that's perfectly fine, no problem. I'm just showing some of the functionality of R and R Studio. So here is, you can get it in a R PDF output. So you can basically, you can see that, you know, whatever output you want, HTML, PDF, and similarly, you can create a Word output. Okay. Word document output. All right. So now what I will do, I will let us start with okay. So first, what you do on the go to say let whatever that template is there, let it be there. You go to line number 9 and make some enter so that you create some space and write something. Now, any R code will go into those first three, those, slash backslash thing, which you will get on the left, on the above the tab. You will get that. Yeah, correct. And within quote unquote R. And actually, okay. Okay. I think we have to keep this R setup include false and neater options chunk equal to true at the beginning, and then we can start writing the R code.
No, sir. And for Shiva's assignment, I have used Markdown many times.
Mhm.
These all are not necessary. Maybe
Okay.
this is for something particular which this default has, but
Okay.
without this also it does.
It does. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good then. All right. So we'll start with first what you do. Okay. You then close that R session, R code thing with the 3 no. That was fine.
The other one, this one.
No. You go to say line number 12 and then put another 3 backslash
Oh,
back.
closing. Okay.
That then you
Got
have this code. Now in this block, you can write whatever R code you want. Okay. First thing you do, you call library ggplot2. Okay. Library ggplot2, and then you can write after that head, 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 open bracket, close bracket, diamonds. So actually, now if you just compile this. No, you have to, what I'm saying, compile this, you just need
Knitting.
knitting, yeah.
This is, we'll get
Okay,
it here
fine.
only.
Yeah. All right. So then you can, so Diamond dataset is a built-in dataset in ggplot2. And if you, in the console, if you just go question mark, if you do question in the console, you go to the console. No, not in the code, not in the code.
Console.
Console, yeah.
Wait a minute, sir.
If you share your desktop now, then you don't have to change again and again from the thing. So it will be easier.
Okay, sir, I'll share.
Yeah.
But there is no option coming for that, sir. It's fine, sir. The taskbar was in the way, that's why I was having the problem.
Oh, okay.
Question mark diamonds.
Fine. Yeah. So here they have, this is the data set that we are going to use for today's class. This is a data set that is available in the ggplot2. It has about 50,000 rows, and for each row they have the price and some of the features like caret, cart, color, clarity, and the size of the diamond in XYZ, like line, length, breadth, and the height kind of thing. In this case, they are calling it length, width, and the depth. And then depth in total percentage, and then table. So table is basically what they call it, like if you look into a diamond, after cutting the whole thing, there is a on the top of the diamond, they call it table. So lots of different features are available, right? So we will try to check out some of the behaviors. Just a minute, guys. Start. Okay. Okay. So what we will do today, I think it will be prudent because my experience is compiling markdown file takes a little bit of time. So what we will do, what you can do, Abhishek, you create, you start another script file, just simple R script. Yeah, simple R script. So we will write this whatever code, and then when we think like, okay, my code is ready, what we will do, we'll just take that code, put it into the R markdown file, we'll compile, and our report will be ready. Okay, so that's our plan. That will be our plan. So what, so for, you can write that library ggplot2, and then, yeah, library ggplot2, and then maybe, okay, that head of diamonds. And then what you can do, you can write say now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use one function called qplot, which is a function of ggplot2. So before ggplot2, I think it's a slightly old function, but it's kind of straightforward way to use instead of the architecture of ggplot2 is slightly different. It works in the layered version, as you know. Probably Shiva has already introduced you to ggplot2, but we will explore that in a much more detail. But this is like suppose instead of making a ggplot, you want something you want to look for very quick. Okay, then this qplot is very useful. So how the things work is, if you can write, okay, let's take the first two variable, price and caret, and let's make a plot of them. So you can write qplot, you write qplot, correct, open bracket, say write caret, CARAT, and comma price. So our guess is caret, PRICE, comma data equal to diamonds. Okay, and now if you just select all and then run, right. So you will see the problem that you will face. There is a 50,000 rows, so it will take little time. So this is the relation between price and caret, and what we can see is as the caret increasing, price is also increasing, but there is clearly a non-linear relationship between price and caret. That
It's just scatter plot, right?
what?
It's just scatter plot, right?
It's just a scatter plot, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so so what we can do now is, if it looks like there is some kind of an exponential growth is happening with the increase of the caret, right? So whenever you feel like there is an exponential kind of growth, like this kind of growth, there is a transformation that you can try log transformations. So what you can do, you can do a q plot. You can try another q plot with, say try q plot, open bracket, log caret, log open bracket caret, comma, log open bracket price, and data equal to diamond.
Sir, why do we have to take log of price also?
Because when we were seeing the direct plot, we were seeing this kind of exponential growth. So that's why we thought of try to take a log, and you can see clearly now it's a almost
No, sir.
Line types.
Oh, sorry, sir. I meant like, why did we take log of caret?
Why not?
Means caret versus log of price also would have worked, right?
What?
No, means I mean the plot of caret against log of price also would have worked, right?
Okay, try that, Abhishek. I don't know. Try that, yeah.
It's like log of x.
It's like log of x.
This graph is like log of x.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. So this is sort of a kind of a quick thing you can do. qplot is sort of an early version of ggplot2 thing that they have started, and then eventually they gone into the layer plot. Some of the fine, nice, interesting thing is that you guys can try is one possibility that you guys can try is say Q plot and do that log caret, log price, data diamonds, and then you can try say color equal to, because I think there was one if you go to the data description, I think you can put some third thing. If you can you go to the help, on the not this one, on the right, yeah, here in the help you have the thing. So price, caret, cut, and color. So color is one like from D to J, and then cut is another fair to thing. So you can just color equal to color, COLOR they have.
Color is equal to D,
No, just COLOR,
only color.
color, because that is the variable name. You check,
Okay.
the variable name is COLOR.
So this will be after data is equal to diamonds or before that?
Correct. No, fine. Diamond,
Anyway.
after that color equal to COLOR.
Error, object color not found.
No, you have.
You have to write color is equal to
Yellow-
color. Now, color
Yeah.
is a parameter and we are
Correct.
giving it the value color, the variable
Correct.
in the diamond set.
So this is right. Our color of
LOUR.
spell-
LOUR.
the
See,
LOUR. This one or other one?
Abhishek, listen to me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So COLOUR is a parameter of qplot, function qplot. Okay.
Okay.
So you are giving the parameter, the variable name COLOR, color.
Mhm.
Now you run that, it will be fine, I think.
Yes, sir. No issues for now.
Actually, there are too many. So you can see that this is an interesting feature that we are seeing here. There is a natural shading is happening. Okay. But we can see there is an interesting breakpoint is also that there is a price breakpoint. That is also interesting.
Yes, sir. Near this point.
Yeah. I don't know why. Anyway, I mean, these are like weird things you will always find in a real life data. Always. And then there is every cut point. I think there is some natural binning is also happening. And these are the always some weird behavior you'll always find. And I don't know why these things happens. And so many things.
What basis the color are assigned?
Acha, this is, yeah.
It's a here. It was written like D is the best
Is
and
the
J is the
best
worst.
and J is the
And this
worst.
you can see here D to
Right.
J.
So that means purples are the worst kind of thing.
The purple are the best ones. Sir. D is purple.
Oh, D is
J
the
is yellow.
Okay. So on the top of the, so you take any caret essentially, and then you vary, say caret equal to log caret equal to 0. That means it's caret equal to 1 basically. Now you go through the one above, lower the color, like color valuation, lower the price. As the price in the same caret category, as the price, as the color become better and better, so the price will increase, kind of thing. So that kind of story we can see, I think. Does that make sense, guys? I mean, what I'm trying to say? Okay, another thing you can try, instead of color, you can try cut. So you go to the color, yeah, data. Now you try color equal to cut. COLOUR.
LOUR.
Yeah, equal to cut.
Equal to cut.
Yeah. Actually, we can take little less data set. I think maybe 1,000 or 10,000 instead of all 50,000. Okay. So fair, good, very good, premium and ideal. And you can again see fair, given a particular caret, the fair and good is at the bottom of the end, and then as very good, good is coming, then it's green, and then ideal are like yellow kind of thing. So those kind of things are happening. All right. Another parameter in the Q plot is called alpha. Can you just take another, the same thing you just take, right? Q plot, log caret, yeah. And then comma, yeah, comma, right, alpha,
Sir?
yeah.
Sir, can we assign colors of our choice, just like fair,
Think
we
can,
yellow and
yeah, no, I
like that?
understand. I understand. I think I can. There are ways to do it. I'll tell you guys later. I have to just figure it out. I have done that before. I have done that before. Just I can't remember right off the hat, but I have done that before actually. So yes, the short answer is yes. Long answer is I have to figure out that old code where I have done. So it's slightly 2-3 lines you have to add before how you do the color and all those things. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah, you can do that. I have done that before. Yeah. So
Okay.
alpha equal to I. Alpha equal to I.
Alpha is equal to
I, open bracket, close bracket. No, capital I, capital I. Capital I, open bracket, close bracket, 1 over 1 by 10. 1 by 10. Now you run that. It takes little time. It's taking little time. Yeah.
I think if he selects the code and then runs it, then it will take less time because it's generating the previous plots too.
no. I'm just running the line, the
Yeah,
recent line.
exactly.
Okay.
Just control
So,
enter nothing.
no, do one thing. You can do this thing. Write small equal to, write small equal to diamonds, and then open bracket, close bracket, box bracket. No, not open parenthesis, just box bracket. Yes. So now basically I'm saying that you take the diamond data set, which is a sort of a, you can think of a matrix. And then I'm saying that, okay, out of 50,000, take only first 10,000. Okay, 1:10,000. 1:10,000. No. Inside the box bracket. Inside the box bracket, you write 1:10,000. Yeah, comma. Comma. So that means basically I'm saying left of the comma access all the rows, right of the comma access all the columns.
Column.
Okay.
Column would be
Column, nothing, all the columns.
nothing.
If you leave it, if you left empty, then all
Okay.
columns will automatically come. So now you run this line. Now you have a, if you go to environment, go to the top environment, right on the environment, on the right, yeah. See environment. Yeah. So if you just scroll, see small has 10,000 observations.
Observations.
Right. So now instead of diamonds, you use small. So your things will be exactly. So your data is now have
This
all
one is
the
the
same data. Instead of 50,000 rows, you just took the top 10,000 rows basically.
yes.
Okay. So now you go back to your code and now, right. Now, if you go Q plot and instead of diamonds, just say small and run. So it will be faster. Okay.
Yeah, and this one.
Yeah.
10,000 is not something price, I guess.
Okay, so that means there is some way of, they have probably done some ordering. So we may have to take some random sample. We would not like to take the first 10,000. You understand what is happening, everybody? All of-
Yes, the first
you
10,000.
understand? I'm just saying all of the rest of the class. You guys understand what is the problem here? If we take the first 10,000, I'm just silence. I'm assuming you guys understand.
Yes, sir, because initially there was a break when we had seen the 54,000 and that
No.
break has
I
been
think-
magnetized.
No, I think
Assumed.
there in the data set, what is happening in the data set, there are some natural ordering has happened, probably some sorting is already there. Now, since as we have picked up the top 10,000, so only the one chunk and some lower chunk and some upper chunk has come. The entire data set, so the data set that this top 10,000 is not representative of the sample. Of the population, the data set of 50,000. So these 10,000 is not representative of the samples of 50,000. You understand what I'm saying? Because we ad hocly, we have taken the first 10,000 and that is not representative. Clear?
You won't get the data from the first 10,000. That's like a very negligible
Bias.
part of the data.
It's a biased. No, it's a biased. It's becoming a biased. There could be like, we don't know how this data was organized. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
A true representation of the whole data set.
Exactly. This 10,000, we have taken the top 10,000 and this is not the representation of the whole data set. So that is the problem with this kind of ad hoc choice. So that is why what we will do a random sampling. So in the line 9, you go there, go to the line 9.
Yes, sir.
And you enter at the beginning of the line 9, you take your cursor to beginning of the line 9.
This one or the starting. Yes.
Yeah, it just, and then enter, and then you will create some space. No, not space.
Enter.
Yeah, just enter. And then in that line 9, you write ID. Or no, first you need to do set.set. Sorry, first you do set.set. Instead of ID.
Set dot seed.
Yeah, set.set.
This one seed.
Correct. Yes. Choose that.
In the this one.
And, yeah, and in that open bracket, close bracket, you give some number.
Random number.
Any number that you like. You
Let's
give
say
10. 5 is fine.
10. 10. How much at 10? Let's say 10.
All right. So now what you do, next line, you go to the next line.
Yes, sir. Or enter.
Enter.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you write ID equal to sample, 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 open bracket, 1 each to 50,000, comma, then size equal to 10,000, and comma, replace equal to false. Yeah. And you take this ID and replace that in line 11, you replace 1 each to 10,000 with ID, sampled ID, and comma. After ID, there must be a comma. So in the ID, you will have 10,000. No. That will be
Small.
data equal to small. No. In line 12, data equal to small. Yes.
Done that.
Now, before we run this piece of line 4 piece of, yeah, okay, fine. You have done that. now, can you tell me, can anybody tell me in the class what this set.sid is doing?
It is ensuring that whenever we sample with same seed, we get the same sample.
Correct. So this is a random sample. So if I draw a random sample in my system and you draw another random sample with another system in your system, it is almost obvious that my series randomly generated numbers and your randomly generated numbers will not match. But if you set up a seed, and if we agreed, both of us agreed to use the same seed, like here Abhishek has used seed as 10. If I also decide to say use the same seed and you also decide to use the same seed as 10, then my generated numbers and your generated numbers will be exactly same. As a result, final analysis in the final ultimate numbers, the summary statistics and all these things will be exact. My statistics and your statistics will be exactly same. Can you tell me why we need to do that?
For data to be reproducible.
Huh?
For results to be reproducible.
Results to be reproducible, so that basically this is an important part of the science, that whatever results you are coming up with, these results should be all reproducible. That means I can give you my data and code to somebody else, and anywhere in the world should be able to run that code and reproduce that result exactly. So that is why we need this set.sid. It's like a password kind of thing, the concept of password. Anyway, you can run the line 12. I hope now the problem will be fixed. Yeah, you can see now the problem is being fixed. All right.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, so this seed is actually an attribute of sample.
It's
kind of a global variable.
It's a global variable. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so like
suppose
whichever function we uses for to take out a sample, this seed will be taken as 10 for like any function we use for sampling.
If we agreed to take the same number, seed number, if all of us in the class agreed to take the same seed as 10, then all of our results will be reproducible. Same, it will be exactly same. But if you decide that no, I will use 12 or whatever, 3,30,000 or 45, whatever, then your result and my result may be very close, but they will not exactly same. Okay.
So the seed will be independent of the data. For example, over here
Correct.
we have taken data as diamonds, but if
Correct.
we had taken some other data, then also it will remain reproducible.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
And multiple data also.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Seed just ensure when you are sampling, right, that generated numbers in my system and your system will be exactly same. Okay, one thing we can check it out whether it does it or not. One way we can right away we can do that. So you can do one thing, Abhishek. So you just go to line inside line 10 and 12, 10 and 11, create another space. Yeah, enter and write ID, open bracket. No, just open bracket, open box bracket. Sorry, open box bracket. ID, open box bracket, 1:5. Right. Now you run line 9, 10, and 11. Acha, these are the numbers that are
So
being
here,
that are being generated randomly. Okay. What I want you to do, just to check whether R is doing its job properly or not, you guys go ahead and run these 3 lines of code because in your system and see you are getting exact same numbers or not. So Abhishek, can you just copy and paste these 3 lines and with the result in the chat box so that people can run this code in their system and check if they're producing exactly same 5 numbers.
Yes, sir.
It is producing exact same 5 numbers, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now you can ensure, we can just that ensures in spite of you have a separate system, I have a separate system, Momi has a separate system, but the numbers that are being generated, they're exactly same because we have taken a same seed. Okay. So naturally, even if these are random numbers, our final results are reproducible. That means my final analysis, Momi's final analysis, Shucheta's final analysis, everybody's final analysis will be exactly same. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, good. So, all right.
What is the meaning of alpha here?
Actually, I kind of got distracted. Now, what I want you to do, Abhishek, you run the
Yes.
same line 13, copy and paste it to line 14. But now instead of 1 out of 10, you say 1 out of 100. And run this code.
It's like opacity, it's reducing the opacity of the graph.
Exactly. So it reduces the intensity of the graph or increase the intensity of the graph. By doing why it helpful to us? Can anybody tell me?
But maybe the data which are not very much important are already in a very low intensity, so they'll get
They will get
eventually
reduced.
removed.
Right. And it will give us a sense of where the data is clustering.
Yes.
Right. So basically, if you reduce the intensity of some of the points which are not very close, I mean, not with a junk, with a cluster and a little far away, they will be less visible. And then what happens if only the points which are in the close to the center of a cluster, they will be only visible, and that will help us to identify some of the inherent clusters that might be available there. If you have too much of data and if you plot them, then it's very difficult to sometimes actually identify where is the cluster. Is there even an inherent cluster? But this one is saying, telling us there might be some inherent clustering is happening. Okay. All right. Okay, next go to the line 15. You write, say, Q plot, and then the same log caret, log price, or caret price, whatever you want. And careful. Actually, this time you take just caret and price. I'll tell you why. There is something I want to do, try out. And then you write data equal to small. And then there is another thing like geom, Geom. Geom stands for geometry. Geometry. Okay, geom equal to C open bracket close bracket, C open bracket close bracket, and I will give you two options. One, first option, quote unquote point, quote unquote point, comma, then go out and comma. And second option will be quote unquote smooth, SMOOTH. Okay.
Could I run this?
Yeah, please. Let us see if it is not. So it tries to fit a smooth curve. Typically, it's called a spline curve. And you can do the same with the, now you can do the with the log caret and log price. Yeah. Correct. So it will feel almost like a straight line, but at the beginning, at the end, it is doing that kind of, kind of a flattening is happening. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right, next is, so next what you can do, there is a technique called spline technique to fit a curve. If you have a curve and if you feel like the curve is a non-linear curve, then in order to fit a non-linear curve, there is a method called spline. Theory we will learn over the time, but we can use this spline technique using R. So what you can do, you can call this library called splines library. You can write library splines. Yeah. Choose that and run this. Okay. And just run the same piece of code after, and then
So which part?
just a minute. The line 16. The line 16, you just copy and maybe paste it here. And then after the point and smooth, you can write a method equal to LM. Method equal to quote unquote LM.
LM.
LM, yeah. Run that. So it will fit a straight line effectively. And you do the...
It shows a warning message saying ignoring unknown parameters method.
Okay, point is doing that.
But still it's like creating a straight line.
Yeah. No, I think this method is, what is happening is this method is probably unknown to qplot. Geom smooth,
maybe.
yeah. So you see geom smooth and qplot is calling the, I think as a backend, it's calling the geom smooth because we have given geom and then smooth. So, and it's trying to run that y tilde x, basically trying to do a fitting a line curve between log caret and log price. And maybe in that process, the method is unknown, or for qplot, it is unknown. So that's why it's throwing that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the procedure like how this they are fitting this curve? Either this there are some statistical procedure or something.
Yes, spline has its own fitting procedure. It's bit cumbersome. I mean, I will not say it's cumbersome. It is doable, but but it's beyond the possibility of this class. But I can, if you guys are interested in how to do splines, I can share some document, some books and implementation on splines. Okay, but have you heard of least square methods?
Yes, sir, I have heard of.
Yes, sir. Heard, sir.
Yeah. So least square method is a typical known method for fitting a straight line and stuff like that, which you will learn eventually in your data mining machine learning class in next semester. Okay, in DMML class, you will learn it, or maybe at the end of probability statistics course, if Shiva may teach you the basic least square method, that how to fit a straight line if you have this kind of data set. Okay, so similarly, spline is also a method to fit a non-linear curve. It's a bit cumbersome method. So as theory, it's a bit cumbersome, and then of course method of implementation is cumbersome, but there are a lot of pack. So all these, somebody has written these functions and they have put in together into our package and made it available. So we are just trying to ride on the shoulder of giants. Okay. So at this moment, it's a little beyond the capability of this class. Okay. All right. Next, what I will do, I'll try to do another thing. Okay, go to line 19. I'll try. What time is it? Yeah, Q plot. Q plot open parenthesis. Now I'm going to do something different. Okay. First variable is I'm going to take color, COLOR. Now you know color is actually a categorical variable, right? But I'm asking it to plot it in x-axis, comma, color is fine, yeah, comma. And then I'm asking you to plot price divided by carat. It's like price per carat. Of course, per carat price will go up or down. It's like rate of a diamond. Data equal to, you can choose small, comma, and geom equal to quote unquote. No need to give C, quote unquote. I'll just give one option, jitter, J-I-T-T-E-R. J-I-T-T-E-R. Okay, now you run that. So you can see that it's a scatter plot, but beamed by the categorical variable. This is an interesting, of course, D is the best and J is the worst. So naturally, price per carat, you will expect much less for the J, and price per carat, you will expect much higher. So variability in group D is much higher. So possibility of a color with D, which is the best color, can go up to $16,000 per carat is a possibility. But in group J, in color J, it is almost impossible. Okay. So, but at the same time, of course, the number of the size of the thing and all this thing will happen. So naturally there is lot of diamonds are in the range of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. But it gives us the possible range that you can see given the color. So color.
So why it's coming in form of strip inside a line instead of a line?
What?
Why it's coming in form of a strip instead of a line?
What is in your x-axis?
It's a categorical variable.
Correct. I'm saying for each category, you take the price and you just plot, and probably it's just creating a
Instead of
plot.
a strip, it should have been a straight line, right?
Why?
Because categorical variable is discrete variable.
So if I decide not to join, what will happen?
I did not understand actually.
So why you want it to be straight line? I mean, like you want this to join, like I don't understand your question, what you are saying.
Means I'm asking why it's coming in form of a strip, right? It's spread across a small area. Why it's not just a straight line? Means all points
Straight line
with
to
same
where?
x coordinate.
No, straight line to where?
Straight line with same x coordinate.
What?
I mean, sir,
Excuse me, sir. I think he means that since it's a very wide bar, he means that it should be have a very narrow bar. Narrow means tending to a straight line, dots on a straight line thing, not a bar.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, x-axis is a categorical variable, right? So the points should have same x coordinate when it's belong to some category.
Okay, fine. Got your point. What is I mean, here there is a purpose. There is a purpose. I mean, the people who have done, they are not stupid. Why they do it? Tell me.
So I think Srijit made a point in the chat. So because if it's a straight line, we won't see the clusters on
Exactly.
where
Exactly.
the
Where is the
intensity we
cluster?
want.
Exactly. So here, most of the clustering is happening here, and there is a huge possibility of going up. But if I make it a straight line, like one block straight line, then I don't know where is the cluster. Got it, Kapil?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And here we are plotting the price or the carat.
Price per carat.
Okay.
Price per carat. Price divided by carat. So how much price it will be per carat, right? So it's like a rate. So okay, we'll try one more thing and then probably to what time is it? I think it's okay, almost end of the session. All right, let's try one more thing. Okay, you go to the line 20, Abhishek. Q plot, carat, comma, data equal to diamond, data equal to small, you just take small, diamond will take a lot of time. Yeah. Geom equal to geom, comma, geom equal to quote unquote histogram.
Capital is fine, sir.
No, small histogram. Yeah. And then you give bandwidth equal to 1. Bandwidth equal to 1. Yeah. And now run this. So you got a caret
Histogram. We
histogram.
got a histogram. Yes.
Yeah. And now
What's on the y-axis?
y-axis is
Acha, no, got it. It's like the caret, the amount in the caret.
yeah, now number of
Yes.
points in that bin, basically. It's a frequency. If you increase or decrease the bandwidth, say instead of 1, you can take 0.1 or 2, something. Whatever.
Yes.
You run.
Basically, I think it's ignoring bandwidth. It's
Let us-
writing ignoring. It's ignoring the bandwidth and ignoring and
Can you
say using bins? We have to use the bins.
no, just try 0.1 or something. I don't know. Yeah, try 0.1. Okay, it is
Okay.
not a warning message, unknown parameter. Okay, maybe they have changed the, okay, use
Okay.
bin.
Bin, yes.
Yeah, try bin. Maybe they have changed it.
Bin.
Okay.
Stat underscore bin.
Okay, try stat underscore bin. Maybe that is what the parameter is. Or okay,
Somebody wrote
bandwidth.
something like
Okay, so Aman is saying it's not bin, bandwidth or bandwidth or bin width. BINWIDTH. Let me just
Sorry,
check.
sir, it's bin with BINWIDTH.
Yeah, that's what I also thought. Yeah. So
Ah,
for some
okay,
reason,
yeah.
it's not working. It's not working.
No, it's working. Now it's working. Bandwidth is working.
Bin width. Okay. We were giving some wrong value. Okay, fine. So now if you change the bin width, say 0.1 to 1 or something, you will see that, the shape of the histogram is changing. Okay, similarly, if you take geom equal to, say, density, so it will create a density plot.
Bandwidth is
Yeah.
could not find function geom is equal to density.
Is the spelling okay? DNSITY. DN.
Density.
Yeah. So now you can see, and again you can play with the bin width, and you will see that their behavior is. So you can see there are 4 kind of major cluster. So that is.
Yes.
Here you can try one more thing. You can try say color equal to again color. So it will give you an interesting.
Same thing with color is equal to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So now for each color you are getting density plot for separate density plot. You can see that. And the last thing that I will do, you can try geom equal to bar. Okay, wait. No, this is Q plot. Go to the end. Go to another new thing. It will create a different plot by color. Q plot color COLOR, not on the caret. Yeah. So color is a categorical variable. Remember the data equal to small and geom equal to bar. So it will create a bar plot. Okay, so this is creating a bar plot, and you can do one thing. You can add weight at the end. You can add weight, comma WEIGHT, weight equal to caret, C-A-R-A-T. Now you run that. Is there a change or anything? No, I
Yes,
don't.
yes. So there is a change.
There is a change. Okay.
Yes, so there is a change. Let's see. This is the one with weight is equal to caret,
Uh-huh.
and this is the other one. The graph of like E is a little bit raised
Slightly
and F
different.
also.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Now you do so okay, weight caret, weight equal to caret, and after that plus
Plus,
yeah, after that you put no, after bracket, after the parenthesis, you put a plus after, yeah, plus scale underscore y underscore continuous, scale underscore y underscore continuous, you can see, yeah, and then there you give quote unquote caret. Check what happens and run the entire thing. Yeah, do you see any help?
no, sir, no change.
Oh, okay, so I think it's supposed to, wait a minute.
Other than that, it's written caret on the y-axis.
Okay,
No
okay,
other change.
okay. So basically on the y-axis you want to put the caret, yeah.
If you
So
remove
nothing
this, the caret
there,
is
and if
also
you, yeah, understand, okay. So you can, instead of caret, you can say number of points or number, I mean frequency, then probably if you want to write on the y-axis, I think that is what it's doing. All right. So now what you can do, if you want to create a report, you can just take piece by piece and put it into your RMD file and write the comment. So suppose like this, and then you can, below that you can write a comment. Okay, say we are right, say, we are going to use diamonds data set for this. We are going to use diamonds data set for this class. Okay, and then if you combine this, compile this like neat and go to the neat PDF or neat HTML, anything is fine.
Well, I don't know why, but in my density plot, I am getting also the value of like in y-axis 1.5, and there are some point corresponding to that as well. So is
Okay.
it possible to get density as 1.5?
Just a minute, I'll answer this. So you can see now, you can do it in this way. You
This
can
is what we
write,
entered.
yeah, so you can write whatever the things between, and then whatever the code that can go into the those block of the R codes, and you can one thing you have to do, that you have to give one plot need to be produced. For that you have to give another extension. So go to your R markdown file. Go to your R markdown file.
Yes.
So take after that line, after line 15, you write create another R block code. No, yeah. And I think you have to take after R, you have to say fig equal to true or figure equal to true. I have to just no, within parenthesis, inside the parenthesis.
With R.
With
This
R,
one.
comma, I think, comma, and then I think fig equal to fig equal to, I think fig equal to true. I can't remember right away. Let us see what happens. And then you go to your script file. You go to script file. Yeah. So, so maybe you just take the line 3. Yeah. Just copy the line 3 and paste it there. And now compile it. I hope this will compile properly. Yeah, you can see on go down, right. So the figure is there. Okay. So do one thing. Can you, Abhishek, can you just prepare this RMD file with just transfer all the code that you have written in the R script into this RMD file and compile it, and then just email me the RMD file. I will upload it into
PDF.
the not PDF, just the
The RMD file or the RMD file?
just RMD files. If you just send me the RMD files, just first you put all the code chunks with the comments. Okay. And then you just send me the RMD file. You don't have to send me the PDF. I'll just compile on my side and I'll just check if everything is fine. And then what I will do, I will just upload the RMD file and I'll check for everybody in the class. Okay. Anybody have any question, comments? All right. So I think
About that density curve.
that
Density curve.
So okay, let me just make you co-host. It's then I think I'll if I see I will be able to. So what output you got? Yeah, I made you co-host. Can you share your screen so that I can see and what happened?
Sir, this there are value corresponding to 1.5 and above, and it is a density curve. So I just want to know that what is correspond to.
So this is caret. Caret is a continuous value, na? So it is
Sir,
probably
but like density curve mean to between like 0 to 1, I guess.
no. Density can be greater than 1. Probability density can be greater than 1.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yes, I get it. Area under the curve. So okay, yeah.
Area under the curve has to be 1. Total area under the curve. Now, if you take a take a like bean, that area under the bean will be less than 1. But the probability density can be greater than 1. Can anybody give me an example where of a
Sir, even in normal curve, this can happen. A normal distribution.
normal distribution? Okay, give me the parameters for which the probability density will be greater than 1.
Sir, I guess if our standard deviation will be very less, then it will go to the
I
peak.
understand that. I understand that. But can you give me off the head any other distribution for which the
A simple example could be uniform 0 to 0.5.
Exactly. If uniform 0 to half, its PDF is
2.
what? 2 everywhere between 0 to half and 0 everywhere else. So its PDF can take a value greater than 1. Because it's not probability. Remember that. It's not probability. It is probability density function. But the area under the probability density function should be represent the probability, and that should be less than 1. And total area should be exactly equal to 1. Okay. Any other question? All right. I think let me stop.